Welcome to another episode of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. I am your host, Michael. Joining me this week, special guest, Gail from San Diego. The one and only Doo Brown joining us from the Midwest of Canada. And if you hear that barking back there, that's probably Gail's dog, either hers or Sean's. Joining us also is live from Taiwan, Sean Newton, and joining us live from the UK, the one and only Mr. Boxing Addict. How you doing, ladies and gents?
Excellent.
Really good.
For those that are new to the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, the Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live. Somebody needs to mute their mic. Special guest, Gail from San Diego. The one and only Doo Brown joining us from the Midwest. Sean, mute your mic. That's probably Gail's dog, either hers or Sean's. Joining us also is live from Taiwan. Addict, mute your mic. The one and only Mr. Boxing Addict. How you doing, ladies and gents?
Excellent.
Really good.
For those that are new to the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, the Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live. Boxing Addict, mute your mic. There you go. For those who are new to the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, the Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live YouTube show /blog/podcast that discusses all things boxing. The motto is, when boxing is good, we will talk about it. When boxing is bad, we will talk about it. The bottom line is, if it concerns boxing, we will talk about it. If you want to find information about the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, there are two main places you can go. You can go to the official blog page for Pound for Pound Boxing Report. The link for that is p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. And repeat that, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. And on the blog page, you can find not only links to where to find the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, but you can also find articles written by yours truly, as well as our special contributor, Kayla Lewis, a.k.a. KBC Live, who will hopefully be joining us later on the show. You can also check out the podcast page for the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. And the link for the podcast page is p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. And repeat that, p4pboxingreport.podomatic.com. The link for the podcast page is p4pboxingreport.podomatic.com. And there you can find all previous episodes of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report podcast. On the blog page and as well as the podcast page, you will find links to where to find us all over social media, on Facebook, on Google+, on YouTube, Podomatic, Twitter, Tumblr. We got a pictures board, the RSS feed where you can subscribe to the podcast. We're also on Stitcher Radio. Just do a search of boxing on Stitcher Radio. You should be able to find us. Or if not, just do a search of Pound for Pound Boxing Report. That's POUND, the number 4, POUND Boxing Report. You can find us there and check us out on Stitcher Radio. And be sure to leave us a review, leave some comments, and tell us about the show and what we're doing right, and most importantly, what we can do to improve. Lastly, we got a link where you can donate your account on both the blog page as well as the podcast page, where you can donate your account. The link for that is donateyouraccount.com/P4P Boxing Report. Let me repeat that, donateyouraccount.com/P4P Boxing Report. And what happens is any tweet that comes from the Pound for Pound Boxing Report Twitter page, your Twitter account would be able to retweet any tweet that comes from the Pound for Pound Boxing Report Twitter page. With all those issues out the way, let's get the show started. Usually we'll do some fight reviews and whatever, but I'm going to switch it up a bit here and talk about really the big news of this previous week, and that's Roc Nation, headed by Jay-Z, his sports company, Roc Nation Sports, making his debut into the boxing world Saturday night with a card at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, headlined, of course, by Dusty Hernandez Harrison, a rising welterweight prospect out of the D.C. area. He scored a 10-round winner with Tommy Renone. One-sided fight. Renone, to me, he looked like he's fought to survive. And Harrison moves on, rising in the welterweight ranks. But more to the point, I want to go to you guys and talk about specifically Roc Nation and their foray and their entry into the boxing world. This card coincided with some big news outside of the ring. On the signing of Andre Ward, who signed a deal with Roc Nation last week, as a merger, Roc Nation's merger with Gary Shaw, his promotional company. Since it is ladies first, I'll go to you, Gail, and you can follow up, D. Your thoughts about Roc Nation, their debut show, as well as the news that they're making outside of the ring with the signing of Broner and the merger of with Gary Shaw?
Well, the big splash that Roc Nation made this last week was mainly outside the ring, not inside the ring. The fights were, they weren't horrible, but they were fairly pedestrian, and they were definitely all very one-sided. But this is nothing but good for boxing. The entrance of more promoters, more competition, and the fact that suddenly, we've unstuck Adrien Ward potentially to get back in the ring. That's a very exciting development. And the fact that Jay-Z has been smart enough as a business owner to bring in someone experienced like Gary Shaw was absolutely a perfect move for both of them. For him to bring in a guy who's got a experience at running the show. He ends up with his stable of fighters, which means he also gets Bryant Jennings, and he gets Daniel Geale, who's, despite his loss to Golovkin last year, still in the mix. And he can delegate the important day-to-day running of the business to a guy who's been there. Brilliant move. The card last week, like I say, was far more about what was going on outside the ring than in. Jay-Z asks all his famous pals to show up, and when the news media gets interested like that, it's all good. And next time, they'll watch again. They'll look at what's going on inside the ring because they've been drawn by the spectacle outside the ring. And when you can't help but enjoy yourself when you see Rihanna sitting next to Jake Gyllenhaal, enjoying the fights there. And, who knew, whether they had a clue what was going on. It was still entertaining. He also, slides enough money to Michael Buffer to show up. All the trappings were there. He's got Fabulous doing a set between the undercard and the main event.
Looking like Humpty Hump.
And, yeah, no kidding. And some purists were saying, for God's sakes, man, just shut up and move on. We want to see the fights. But to draw a bigger audience new to boxing, you're going to have to do those things. And that is what a lot of other major sports have done. They folded in that entertainment aspect, and it's worked. There's no reason boxing can't do it. The rest of us who aren't really interested in seeing a guy run around in a chinchilla hat, I found it amusing. It wasn't like we were awaiting the fight of the century. I mean, lighten up. It was entertaining. I think PETA was probably not.
It was at the Garden. Club fight at the Garden. It was awesome.
Yeah. So, I think it was nothing but good for boxing. Now, the big news for those of us who are purists are, what condition is Adrien Ward in? What kind of fights are they going to be able to make for him? And how much ring rust does the guy have to shake off? But these are big questions that are going to have to be answered. He's all but forgotten by the majority of fans.
Speaking of Adrien Ward, I go to you on this one. I go to you on this one. I go to you on this one, D. Gail mentioned the signing of Adrien Ward. Adrien Ward still considered by many the second best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, behind Floyd Mayweather. Super middleweight king, but he's basically been out of the ring for 2 years, had basically one fight in 2 years. The signing with Roc Nation, not only what will it do for him in the ring in terms of bringing him fights, big fights, but what do you think it would do for him outside the ring in terms of upping his profile and maybe getting some endorsements deal here and there?
You just said it. I mean, like, he's gonna blow up. I mean, a lot of guys are like musicians and rappers and actors and all that. They really didn't probably follow him, probably didn't know him. They're gonna know him now, just like the prime time stuff. But I don't think the 2 year. He's gonna be a little rusty, but I don't think he's that rusty. I think he'd be ready to go. I'm pretty sure he's been sparring. He's been, doing what he's supposed to do, running and all that. He's just a little stuff he gotta shake off, and he'd be fine. We've been eagerly waiting for him to come back. I don't know talking about ain't nobody looking for him, but we all have eagerly. I couldn't wait for him. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. He signed with Roc Nation. He's coming back. So I'm very excited about that. And I think Roc Nation will be here for a while. I really do. It's not like no 50 Cent crap, I don't think 50 Cent had any boxing people on his side. I don't think he incorporated that. He just thought I'm 50 Cent. I'm just going to run I'm going to be a promoter. I'm just going to have me some boxing and grab a couple boxing. And you see what happened after Gamboa got beat up. So I got knocked out. So I think Roc Nation, I like it. I like it a lot, and I think we'll be here for a while.
I'll go to you on this one, Sean, and you can follow up as well, Attic. The threat that Roc Nation may pose on the other big promoters, if you will, in the sport, the Arams, the Al Haymans, the Kings, and whatnot, Golden Boy. We do know that Roc Nation tried to sign Peter Quillen to a deal until Heyman nixed that, came to with a bigger offer. And we also know kind of behind the scenes, there's a bit of a beef here between Heyman and Roc Nation, particularly Jay-Z. Talk about the big moves that he's made outside the ring and the threat that Roc Nation Sports will have on the status quo, and I'm using air quotes here.
You know, it's interesting because when it looks like the Cold War is over, I mean, more fuel is sort of added to the fire. I mean, first with Heyman, of course, starting his thing, which is going to give him lots of power as an individual, and teaming up with the UK promoter to give him extra fighters. And now Jay-Z, who is smart, you know, buying out Gary Shaw's promotions and having him still involved, so he has like an old school boxing head involved, but also he has a stable of fighters that he can sort of use. And then signing a guy like Ward to be like his highlight sort of name brand fighter, who everybody's excited to see get back in the ring. You know, I think what's good is that we know Jay-Z has issues with Heyman, so maybe them working together is going to be a problem down the road. But in contrast to that, Golden Boy and Aram and Jay-Z have no issues whatsoever. So, I mean, them working together, I can't see that being any problem, and why they wouldn't be more than happy to sort of work together. And then, since they'd be mostly working with Gary Shaw anyway, I mean, you can't see any problems sort of rising from that.
Your thoughts at it, because I also mentioned the name promoters here. I also must include Hearn and Matchroom Sports, who's deciding to venture into the United States as well. I could see easily a relationship being built between Roc Nation and Matchroom for some fights moving forward.
Yeah, it's only got to be positive, I think. You know, Roc Nation have come into the mix, and I believe are they broadcasting their stuff on NBC, which is a terrestrial channel, isn't it?
That's Al Haymon, who made a deal with terrestrial TV. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but proceed.
Oh, is it? Okay, so, you know, but yeah, it's good to have them in the mix. It's always good to have competition. You know, when you get monopolies, it's never good in any industry. So, yeah, they're bringing something new to it. They're trying to sign some fighters. They've been successful and unsuccessful, as we've heard this week. So, yeah, it's a good mix to have them in there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. As I talked about the deal that Roc Nation made with Andre Ward, I can't go this show without talking about how Adrien Broner, former lightweight, junior lightweight, welterweight champion, last week in an interview with TMZ, I believe it was, talked about a deal that Roc Nation made for him to sign him. 8-fight, $40 million deal, and he went on video, basically dissing him, dissing Roc Nation, dissing Jay-Z, dissing Beyonce, dissing Rihanna. And he later on kind of had a mea culpa and apologized for that later on, talking about how he was wrong, he has to be a man about this, blah, blah, blah. I'll go to you on this one, D. Thoughts about what was wrong with Broner for turning down that deal in the first place? Is there something behind the scenes that we don't know about? Because on the surface, I personally just don't understand it. You don't turn down that kind of money.
Well, obviously we didn't know anything about the primetime NBC. I had no idea about Al Haymon. You know, this is before that movie came out, so now I understand why he turned it down. And I mean, it makes sense. You know, if he keeps winning, and you know, he's in 150 million households. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, him saying what he said, man, that's fucking Broner, man. He's just a clown. He never thinks before he speaks. You know what I'm saying? He never thinks before he speaks. And for him to tell Jay-Z to suck his dick and all that, man, it pissed me off. It really did. You know, I ranted on my page about it, but and then he goes, oh, next day he apologized. Oh, but he said my big homie called me and told me to apologize. So I'm thinking maybe Mayweather or somebody got some sense. Because, you know, dude, you a couple fights away from being broke. irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? You lose a couple of fights, who wants to see him? Don't nobody like him. You know what I mean? So he better keep winning. That's all I know.
Sean, in the video, Sean, Broner was making an issue about the number of fights that Roc Nation was offering him. According to Broner, he was claiming they was offering him only 2 fights a year. He was saying that he fights. Everybody knows he fights 4 fights a year. So there seems some discrepancy on his part in terms of the number of fights. But from what you're hearing, you're everywhere, Sean. I always say trolling is usually a bad word, but not really in your case because you're everywhere. You're searching everybody. Any thoughts on what Broner did and why he apologized, as well as the subsequent making the deal with NBC, and what does that play into the picture?
Well, I think, like Dee was saying, a lot of it may be because of behind-the-scenes stuff we didn't see with NBC contract and potential money that he could get, and apparently under Heyman and this NBC thing, there's going to be like 4 fights a year for fighters, but I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, I think if he gets 2 paid fights a year, he should be counting his dollars to the bank, because I mean, he's
right.
Not been the most active guy out there. He's been doing lots of other things. But mind you, for him, maybe fighting 4 times a year is the remedy, because at least this time he has no time to fuck around. So he's just going to be in the gym constantly and not blow up.
And it keeps him in shape.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's
probably getting paid for each fight too. Because he keeps talking about this 4 fights a year, but it's not a set contract. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to be in a set contract. He's like, you gonna put me in a set contract? Give me some more money. At first, I was against it. I was like, this nigga crazy. He lost his goddamn mind. But no, now I see why. NBC, that's a big thing. That's big. That's big. That's huge. That can blow him up to some Mayweather shit. He keep winning.
He's gonna have to tone his act down there a little bit so he can become.
Oh yeah, he said he's gonna have to stop cussing.
Right.
He said, I'm gonna have to stop cussing. I'm gonna be in a 150 households, 150 million households. Yeah, you better chill out.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Gail, with this? We'll talk about it more in depth in a little bit, but do you think that Broner could get as much money fighting on network television as he could with Roc Nation? Because at the expense of showing our age here, we remember when network television dealt with boxing, and in the past, they've never been known, in spite of the exposure that you get, they've never been known to be shelling out a whole bunch of money for boxing, even when doing boxing's apex on network television.
No. Go back to the original question. Oh, hell no. The problem with Broner is like one of those employees who, performs well but is completely insubordinate. And, you end up having to let him go. He's got the skills. He does what you need him to do in the organization, but he's so toxic, and he's so disrespectful that you just end up saying, yeah, get the hell out of here. And that's his problem. He said part of the reason he didn't want this contract to be locked in is he didn't want to be anyone's puppet. Well, unless you run your own business and you're an independent operator and can call the shots, like a Floyd Mayweather, you're going to work for somebody. Most of us work for somebody. And, if he can't handle that, he's always going to be chafing at these sorts. I think at this point, beggars can't be choosers. He is not a headliner. He has not done well. He has not endeared himself to the public. And he's got a hell of a lot of child support to pay. The guy cannot be picky. Maybe, I've said this before, maybe his issue was the sticking point in the negotiations is he wanted somebody to pay his child support tab. Didn't get it. He made a stupid move. He does speak without thinking. He's a very emotional guy. He runs off at the mouth, and and he fights that way too. He has a very tough time being disciplined, and that is going to be his undoing. He's got the skills, and he's got zero discipline.
I know it's a little bit unfair, Attic, to ask you the perspective of what's happening overseas, but I'm going to go there anyway. Your thoughts on boxing? What's the vibe over there in the UK in terms of the reaction to what Broner did?
Yeah. I basically. And seeing this video of him apologising, I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if that's me.
It may be you. It may be you. My mic just a mixture. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So this interview with Broner was just ridiculous. I'm a boss. Bosses should talk. Well, bosses don't talk like that. Tell him to fuck off, basically. Like he did. Yeah, I don't really like. It's crazy turning down talking personally, because I think it's going to get very soon. Yeah, Melina, this fight that's coming up. I don't think Melina's capable, to be honest, which is unfortunate. But I think he will get beat.
Yeah. I think the issues with that. So. Mute yourself, son. Mute Sean. Okay. I think the issue maybe with Sean's mic. But anyway, I'll go to any follow-up from anybody, Gail, D, in terms of Broner, what he did, why he did it, the apology. Any follow-up before we move on?
He just needs to shut his mouth, man. He just needs to think before he speaks, man. From now on, because people are really despising this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like she said, he got too many babies to feed. He out there talking reckless like that. He dude has no filter, you know. I mean, you can't defend the guy, man, because he's a clown.
You know, you can get away with those kind of antics. You know, if you can back it up with a performance in the ring, people are willing to look the other way when you behave badly like that. Broner can't do that right now. Broner has to get some pretty spectacular fights behind him before he can pull that kind of nonsense, and people are going to be willing to put up with it to get a performance out of the ring. He's not there. He is in a world of hurt with his performance, and everybody's so damn disgusted with him. You know, first of all, he needs to lock his idiot father in a cage somewhere, so not let that guy out. You know, that's his role model for the way he operates, and yeah, it explains a lot. But somebody needs to pull that young man aside and say, listen, if you want a future in this sport, you got to straighten up, shut up, and get to work, and lay off the damn Twinkies.
Yeah, he does have a bad habit of putting on a lot of weight in between fights.
Well, he has admitted many times he has a complete junk food Jones, and somebody needs to lock up the damn junk food in that case, or take away the car keys so he can't drive to whatever his favorite drive-through is.
Well, y'all gotta understand, he's a part-time rapper. The guy goes on these rap tours and forgets all about boxing. He lives a rapper's life, smoking, drinking, eating, all that. He needs to stop rapping. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of ings he's been doing.
Yeah, eating, drink, that's what that drinking. He gotta be drinking too, because they be drinking. So.
He to me is an utter disappointment and a waste of talent. If he wants to rap, great. Go off and do that.
No,
don't waste everybody else's time. Don't waste your trainer's time. Just don't waste everyone's time.
Well, we mentioned Broner and his fight coming up on NBC. Let's talk about this deal with NBC for those who do not know. We talked about it in the past, but it's official now. NBC has ventured back into the boxing game, which has me pumped up, as they have made a deal with Al Heyman and will televise 20 fights this year. The premiere is the series is called Premier Boxing Champions, PBC or NBC is what the execs are calling it. 5 cards on NBC on Saturday nights. 6 on Saturday afternoons, and the remaining 9 cards will be on NBC Sports Network. The series will kick off on the 7th of March with a really good doubleheader, by the way. Keith Thurman defending his bout against Robert Guerrero. The aforementioned Adrien Broner, he's going to be fighting John Molina in a junior welterweight battle. Another card is going to be happening in April. It's site to be determined. We're all old enough to remember as kids, little kids, boxing on network television, ABC, NBC, CBS, during the 80s especially, and 90s. Anybody can chime in. Your thoughts on this deal between NBC and Al Heyman? Again, like I said, I'm very excited about it. Your views of what's happening in this deal and the potential of what could happen.
Well,
Gail,
I'm happy to jump in on this. This was a brilliant deal. Say what you will about Al Heyman and a lot of the negatives he brings to the sport. When he does something like this, a lot can be forgiven. It was a brilliant move for him to take a lot of his stable, who has previously been allied with Showtime, over to his rivals at NBC. Everyone needs to bear in mind that Showtime is owned by CBS.
Right.
So we're really talking about a battle between CBS and NBC here. NBC may not offer the pay-per-view audience, but what NBC offers is a whole lot more eyeballs for advertisers, way more money for these sort of mid-level fighters than a paid network could ever offer. They are not, most of them, headline draws at this point. They are not pay-per-view draws for sure, so you're not really losing that whatsoever. You're going to get a lot more eyeballs on the sport. Pay networks just simply do not have the numbers in the United States that terrestrial, over-the-air, and even cable, free cable channels do. He's going to expose a lot more people to the sport. He's going to build that kind of audience so that when his fighters do come along to book a pay-per-view, there's the potential for a really great payoff. He is making an investment in the sport and in the fan base now by doing this. Absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to see it. The big loser in this, the folks that really should be nervous, are the execs over at Showtime. So what have they got left? They have 2 fights left with Floyd Mayweather. What else have they got, folks? Their well is starting to run very dry over there.
Yeah, HBO and Showtime sitting great.
Showtime especially. HBO has got some stuff locked in, and they're in pretty good shape for a while. Showtime is likely to be the one to come up short here. Once Mayweather is gone, if he does 4 fights and retires, they're toast.
Yeah, absolutely. More insight what you're talking about, D, in terms of the threat towards HBO and Showtime. Your views of what's happening with this deal between Heyman and NBC.
She said it everything. She summed it all. I mean, Gail said it all. I think it's awesome. Like, they're going to sponsors, ads, all that, man. They just bringing in all. Like she said, they investing in boxing, in his fighters. He is gambling right now. That, it'll take off. That's why he got this great card. That's why these cards are stacked. That it take off when people get into it and tune and the ratings go up. Because if them ratings start dropping, all hell gonna break loose. But he's got to keep them ratings up, man, and get them sponsors and all that, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm excited. I'm too excited.
Yeah, Heyman has, I believe, more than 150 fighters right now in his stable, including a bunch of fighters he picked up as a result.
Wondering why he was buying all them fighters up. Remember when we were talking about that? Why is he buying? He was buying up everybody.
Yeah, including
De La Hoya over there crying.
Yeah, including a bunch of fighters that, as a result of the settlement between De La Hoya and Richard Schaefer, which we will get into coming up. I want to go to you on this one. I know you're overseas, but I remember a lot of local terrestrial fights here in the States would be aired live in the UK. talk about maybe not just the deal as much, but in terms of the Al Heyman himself and this major power move.
Yeah, it's a great move for him. Like Dudu was saying, you know, there was a time that we were all talking about Heyman, like, what's he doing? He's signing up all these guys, but they're not fighting anybody. And this was the long-term plan, wasn't it? I think his evil plans coming together. So, is it going to work out? I don't know. But I think it's certainly a good thing. Yeah.
Say my name again, Boxing Addict. Say it, man.
She's amused by how you said you do, bro.
Dudu.
It's so proper.
How am I supposed to say it? That's how you say it, isn't it?
No, it's just, you know, you got accent, bro. You know, it's funny. Doo-doo, you know, you said doo-doo.
I can't help the accent. Sorry about that.
I know, I love it. I love it. Cracks me up.
Before we get into the deal between De La Hoya and Schaefer, a bit of a breaking news that broke this afternoon as Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah. Back in the hospital, man.
Back in the hospital today for follow-up care related to urinary tract infection. His second stint in the hospital within a month. Hospitalized on December 20th, what many believe is pneumonia. Later on, determined to be a urinary tract infection. Still issues with that. Anybody can chime in. Your thoughts on the recent health issues with Muhammad Ali?
Praying, man. He's old dude, man. He's ill, and it just don't look good, you know.
Yeah, you know, Ali, because of his Parkinson's disease, it complicates a lot of things, and unfortunately, you know, those of us, a lot of whom have dealt with, you know, aging relatives and family members, you know, UTIs, urinary tract infections, can really be nasty business. I mean, it doesn't sound real serious, but they're hard to shake for folks that have, you know, some kind of chronic condition or illness. They can really take hold. Pneumonia is a really deadly, scary thing in an older adult. You know, these are the sort of things that, you know, cause somebody who's already, you know, not got the best immune system and the best strength behind them to deteriorate fast. So yeah, this is a time for prayers and well wishes.
Yeah, I've been praying. That's my thing.
Nobody lives forever. You know, we would like to think that this icon of our sport would live forever, but I think tough times are ahead for him and his family. And I do pray for them and wish them well.
Yeah, me too. I got tears in my eyes right now thinking about it.
Yeah, I echo all of that that's been said. You know, it's always a horrible thing when people get ill, and he is an old guy now, and it's going to happen at some stage, isn't it? But let's all hope he gets through.
Yeah, absolutely. So thoughts and prayers to the greatest, the one and only Muhammad Ali. I hate to move on to such a sad note, but you know, we have to. We mentioned Oscar De La Hoya's deal. Settlement, I should say, with Richard Schaefer. Settlement is $50 million. It was a settlement on a $50 million that De La Hoya was seeking in arbitration. An arbitration case that he filed over the summer, I believe. As part of the deal, I believe De La Hoya is to cut ties with numerous fighters he's been promoting. Big name fighters.
He lost his
Peterson. You know, Peterson, Danny Garcia, Thurman, McDonald, Broner, Quillen, Arislani Lara, Jacobs, Abner Mars, or Devon Alexander, Porter, Robert Guerrero, Deontay Wilder. Basically, his big name fighters are moving on to Al Heyman, I believe it is. I'll go to you on this one, Addict. Your thoughts on this deal, and this is a monster hit for Golden Boy, no doubt about it. The future of Golden Boy promotions, Addict. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on this because I don't know enough about it, so I'll pass it over to you guys.
D.
He
Gail.
lost a lot of talent. I don't know how, I don't know like the deep of it, how deep it is and all that, but I just know he lost a lot of great guys, and he has to rebuild Golden Boy again. I mean, who he got? Canelo? Who he got left?
Yeah.
Canelo?
Yeah, Canelo. That makes Canelo the star of the stable. And I hope Oscar can rebuild. I mean, essentially, when he parted ways with Schaefer, he decided to part ways with a lot of Heyman's guys, and that's from a business perspective, if that is sucking a lot of his time, and if a lot of the profit is going to Heyman anyway, he might have lost the numbers. But the truth is, he might be a lot better off. He return on investment for the guys in his stable that are his, with no share of them going to Heyman or Schaefer for that matter. In some ways, it's a lot smarter deal to have 100% of 5 guys than 10% of 100 guys and all the headaches that come with that. And it does give him an opportunity to start fresh with some new talent coming up. Some of those guys are, I would argue some of those guys aren't, all that. And, if he picks up a couple winners on their way up that are exciting, that are fresh faces, and there's some interesting folks out there, as long as he does it.
But the issue is, for me, is not only the main event fighters he lost. He also lost Errol Spence. He also lost
he gonna be doing some signs.
Brown, Marcus Brown, 2 of the hottest young prospects in boxing right now. Spence is, for those who don't know, that was my prospect of the year for 2014. So it's not just the guys now; it's the future guys who has potential 3, 4, 5 years down the road. That's the problem. And he did sign a bunch of fighters, but who are they? They're not really named guys. Even the young fighters he signed, they're not being thought of as guys with real potential here.
Well, not yet. How many of us were excited at this time last year about guys named Vasyl Lomachenko? I mean, he wasn't on the radar.
I see some potential in that kid.
Yeah, I think that the reports of the death of Golden Boy are greatly exaggerated at this point. He took a hit, but you know what? Sometimes it's a good idea to clean house and start fresh. I think that's why Oscar needs to stay clean personally. He needs to focus. And I really would rather have him have a smaller stable of guys that he's got 100% control of, and see what works for him. I think the business model might work a little better for him. And I have to give Oscar enormous credit for starting to break down this huge Berlin Wall, this Cold War between the promoters. I think a lot of the movement we're seeing, should be credited to the fact that Oscar started the dialogue, assisted by Bernard Hopkins. Let's not forget that Bernard's still over there. And you've also got, and Bernard's the guy who's the business brain over there, let's face it. And, you had Oscar reach across the aisle and, to Bob Arum, he reached back. I have nothing bad to say about him at this moment. I wish him well.
I go to you on this one, Attic. 2 interesting boxing development that happened over in the UK this past week. Actually this week. Anthony Joshua, a guy who we think a lot of. He was forced to withdraw from a fight at the end of the month due to a back injury, stress fracture in his back, I believe. He made the announcement press conference yesterday. And also, according to a story on Boxing Scene, there's been talks of a possible fight between Bernard Hopkins and Carl Froch, with Hopkins moving down to super middleweight. What's the word over there in terms of the Joshua injury, as well as this rumors of a fight between Froch and Hopkins?
Yeah, well, it appears that Joshua's got an injury, a back injury, and he's pulled out of the fight with Kevin Johnson, which is disappointing, but it's something that needs to get sorted out now, because, he is still a prospect, so you don't want to be having these fights one after the other like he is. with potential problems that could get worse. So it's a good thing that they're getting it sorted out, and he's got to be fighting again soon. They're talking about him still having 4 or 5 fights this year, so he's still on track, and hopefully he'll be out again maybe April time. On the Cole Froch Bernard Hopkins thing, this has really come about because Hopkins has come out with something on British TV where he's basically saying, I might go down to super middleweight and Cole Froch could be an option. But I don't see that happening. I don't think it's a fight Froch would really want. I can't see it being big box office, so it's not really on his radar, to be honest. I know it was a year or 2 ago, and it would have been an interesting fight to see, but I think it's just all talk at the moment. I can't see Cole sort of veering away from the Chavez fight at the moment, and after that he may retire or have a big fight with a Golovkin, but I don't think Hopkins is there, to be honest.
Any thoughts from you guys on this, on the news regarding any Joshua's back injury as well as this talk of Froch possibly fighting Hopkins, Gail D?
Nah. And if Froch fights Hopkins, he's gonna lose. Go ahead, yeah. Oh, who that is? Who that is, Mike?
Oh, yeah. I didn't see it pop up. Joining us now in the Pound for Pound Box Report. Sean had to leave. Joining us right now is past guest of the Pound for Pound Box Report and contributor to the Pound for Pound Box Report blog, Miss KBC Live, Kayla Lewis. How you doing, Kayla?
I'm good. How are you guys? I'm sorry I'm late.
What's happening, Kayla?
No problem. Kayla.
Thank God she's eating things up around here.
Let me formally introduce you to the rest of the guests. We got Gail joining us from San Diego, Gail Falkenthal, as well as the one and only Doodoo Brown, D, a.k.a. Doodoo Brown, as well as joining us live from the UK, the one and only Mr. Boxing Addict. Everybody, Kayla, KBC Live.
Hey, Kayla.
Hey.
I'll just go back, since you joined us late, I'll just go back and ask for your opinions on what we talked about earlier tonight. Your thoughts on Roc Nation, their debut. Yeah, I'm going back, D. I'm going back. About Roc Nation's and their deals with Andre Ward, the NBC deal with Heyman, as well as the Richard Schaefer settlement.
Which one are you asking me first, Roc Nation or
all
of them?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a fan of Roc Nation coming into boxing, and just for the reason, I mean, I haven't ever really heard Jay-Z really speak on what he knows about boxing and the sport. To me, anybody can join boxing for financial gain. It's not that hard to do.
You don't think the merger with Gary Shaw may mean something?
It will mean something because Gary Shaw has a decent stable. The only issue I see with the only issue I've ever seen with Gary Shaw is a lot of his fighters leave him. And that's from what I heard because he doesn't have the best management skills. So I can understand that. I'm not a fan of Jay-Z coming into boxing because for one, I've never heard him speak anything on what he knows about the sport. And to me, that's a problem because, honestly, with the state that boxing is in now, we don't really need another person that's just, money hungry and there for greed. We can have 20 people like that. It doesn't necessarily mean
Jay-Z ain't here for the money. He's already wealthy. What are you talking about? Him and his wife are stupid rich. They moguls. What are you talking about? He has a football player. He has a basketball player. He's an entity, you know what I'm saying? Dude, I followed him since Blueprint, and I know he talks about boxing. He loves boxing. I see him shadow boxing and everything.
But to her point, just because he talks about it doesn't mean he knows a lot about it.
Exactly. It doesn't mean he knows anybody.
That's why he brought in other people, man. He ain't like 50 Cent.
I'm just not totally a fan. More so because his first broadcast, he had rappers in the ring. Look, man, I just want to see people fight. I don't need to see people performing in the ring. That's not what I'm here for. If it was going to be a talent show versus it being a boxing match, I'll pass.
Now, see, there we go. And we talked exactly about that. There's this group of purists, which you represent, that says, well, who the hell is Fabulous? What the hell? Get him out of there. I just,
I didn't need to see him in that.
He went on and on and on. I mean,
that Humpty Hump get out, that could have went from Fabulous. I didn't need to see that.
No.
Yeah, so for me, if that's what it's going to be every time, I'm good. I don't need that. But just more on just the boxing side, like I said, number one, I've never heard Jay-Z give substantial knowledge of what he knows about the sport. And some people could say, well, that doesn't matter because it's prize fighting. And absolutely, it is prize fighting. But at the same time, if we're going to – now, I'll say this. Jay-Z, he's – the one match I do know he tried to do was Quillen versus Korobov, which was a good match. My only problem with that was he was trying to offer Peter Quillen close to $2 million. And anybody that knows Peter Quillen and knows Peter Quillen's record, he does not deserve $2 million. So I have a problem with that because you know what that does? That already inflates his humongous ego. Peter Quillen hasn't even fought anybody worthy. Nonetheless, he turned down the Korobov fight, and then plus that, now he thinks he can sit here and fight nobodies and should be getting paid $2 million for it, and it's not good. It just gives fighters like him another excuse to say, oh, I'm not fighting this guy, because I'm worth such and such. He's already said he doesn't want to fight Gennady Golovkin. Says Gennady Golovkin isn't marketable.
In an update on Quillen, it looks like he's going to be fighting Andy Lee next.
That's a good match. I hope he gets his head knocked off.
Yeah, I'd love to see one of those Andy Lee Hail Mary knockout punches of Quillen coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The NBC deal with Al Heyman, Kayla.
I'm a fan of the NBC. I like it. I'm happy that they're trying to put boxing back on primetime TV. I'm totally okay with that. The only thing is with me is we can put boxing back on every weekend like it used to be, championship fights nonstop. We can do that, but that's not exactly why the public doesn't watch boxing anymore. They don't watch boxing anymore because of the blatant cheating and robbing that's going on. So we can put boxing back on primetime TV, but if we're just going to have that, what's the point? The people that you're trying to appeal to aren't going to watch, though. You already have the general public saying, well, boxing's dead, I'm not going to watch because, they just rob guys, and they do. And some of his fighters have been guilty of that. So if we're going to just bring it back to have that back on TV, I don't really see what the point is. I hope that's not the case here. I hope it's going to be legit. And if it is, then I am all for it. But we have yet to see that. So
let me push back. The issue with the judging, I think that's more of a thing with us because we follow the sport. The vibe I get in terms of mainstream sports guys is because they don't know who these guys are. They know Mayweather, they know Pacquiao. That's about it. I think on the other side that because of this deal, if done the right way, it can expose them to more fighters. If Heyman gets his top stable, his top guys on there, it could get them more. Because if they fight each other, it could mean more viewers. It could mean more attention. It could open up the sport to the mainstream sports crowd. Now I know that's a big if.
It's a big if, and I'm totally with that. I don't think somebody has to have a deep knowledge of boxing to watch a fight for 12 rounds or however many rounds it lasts, but in this case 12 rounds, and see which fighter clearly won and clearly lost. Because sometimes it's really just that clear cut. Sometimes it's debatable, but on the fights where it's clear cut that there was a winner and that person does not get the actual win, you don't need to be a in-depth boxing fan to know that. You can watch a fight and see that, and that's not going to make people. You know how many times people say, well, I'm not watching boxing, I'm going to watch UFC or whatever, they watch. But that's not going to help. So if that's still going to happen, I don't really see the point of putting it back on TV. I'm hoping that it doesn't. I'm hoping that we're going to be legit. We're going to act like grown-ups. We're going to have judges that, new year, new me attitudes. That's what I'm hoping, honestly. But we'll see, because Heyman, like I said, Heyman fights where there have been Heyman fighters involved. This has happened multiple times. So, if that's going to be the same formula, we're still going to have people turning away. It's not going to make a difference, in my opinion.
And
I've been watching
finally,
boxing over 20 years, and it's the same get-up. Judges, bad judges, mismatches. It's going to happen in boxing forever. It's never going to change. It's not because of Al Heyman, not because of Don King or anybody else or Bob Arum. I'm just saying that's part of boxing. You know, you're going to watch.
And you know what? It happens in every single judged sport. What popular sport has had more controversy, believe it or not, over the last 10 or 20 years than figure skating? Seriously, you know, as far away from boxing as you can get. We just had in the last weekend a huge brouhaha over a call, you know, that would have won the Dallas Cowboys a game. Bad judging, you know, bad judging is always going to happen. I mean, the truth is you can't let it go to the judges if you want to be sure about something. But, you know, if you look strictly at the numbers, I've been pulling numbers, and I just got curious. I pulled the ratings for the fight in May, the ESPN broadcasts on Saturday afternoon, Saturday early evening for East Coast, between Bermane, Stiverne, and Chris Arreola, which, you know, was quite the bloody, you know, brawl. The ratings drew just shy of 1 million people. You know, for boxing, that's a very good number, especially between two guys who aren't exactly household names to the average American fan, sports fan, who'd be watching ESPN. You might run across it and say, what the hell is this? Heyman can't really lose at this point. You know, NBC's time on Saturday afternoons when they aren't broadcasting, you know, football or something of that nature or don't have an Olympics, is free time. Anything he gets them is a bonus. So there's no loss for NBC especially on the Saturday afternoon stuff, and then especially on the stuff that NBC Sports Network's going to carry. They'll have to be very careful pick and choosing those 5 primetime fights, but even then, a primetime regular Saturday night, you know, broadcaster shows on NBC, you know, usually they repeat one of their real popular primetime series from earlier in the week, like Blacklist or something like that, against a new Dateline special. Dateline, which isn't a blockbuster ratings getter, gets about 4 to 6 million viewers. That would be, even 2/3 of that would be a hell of a lot for boxing. A hell of a lot. So, you know, it's a great gamble for Heyman, for his crew. NBC, I mean, they can't possibly lose if they draw even close to that with sponsorship. You know, they are investing a lot less than producing a show themselves to get a lot more money. So, you know, from a business viewpoint, they can't lose at this point. You're right, though. If there are some really stinky decisions, you know, on the you know level of Pacquiao Bradley or anything Maurice Herrera got dealt this year.
Or anything that happened in the Jesse Vargas fight.
That so long. Yeah.
Or anything involving a Jesse Vargas fight.
It's the crowd that they're looking to gain is going to be turned away, and they're not looking to just gain the boxing fans, the regular boxing fans, because they know they already have us. They want to gain the public. So I feel like if that stuff's still going to happen, and you know, bad decisions have been happening, but these days it's just these judges and these promoters have no shame, and you know,
I do think it's time, you know, and all of this movement with the promoters might be the motivating factor into one thing that I think could easily be done to get rid of a lot of this. I think some of the judging issues are simply because they are looking from one angle that isn't the best angle necessarily. You know, give them some real-time video feed, instant replay, or you know, a commentator-less feeds. They could see, you know, exactly the same thing that the commentators do. You know, I think would go a long way, you know, towards nudging it, you know, in a fair direction, so that they really understand what they're seeing. They really are looking at, you know, punching effectiveness versus simply punching numbers. You know, they should not be judging a fight based strictly on CompuBox tally. You know, they're not judging how, you know, accurate or how hard a punch, a single punch is. They're just simply counting off numbers. And say I got a little bit of better look at something, I think we could fix, you know, maybe half of this. And
well, if we're going to talk about that, let's mention referees too.
Yeah, I think we're talking about not necessarily corruption or incompetence. It is simply lack of information for a lot of these guys.
If we're going to talk about judges, let's just talk about referees too, of course. I'm just saying that because I want Lawrence Cole the hell out the game, but that's just my perspective. Proceed.
Well, you're going to have to take his daddy out for that to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately. And then lastly, Kayla, before we talk about really the main fight of the weekend, thoughts on Golden Boy's settlement with Richard Schaefer. He may be gaining more control at the end of the day, but it's being done at quite a hell of a loss because he's losing the majority of his fighters, not just the main event guys now, but the young and up-and-coming fighters like Errol Spence and whatnot.
You're talking about like Oscar De La Hoya?
Mm-hmm. His deal with Schaefer.
I mean, I don't know if there's anybody else to blame for that except for Oscar. Oscar's had a lot of personal problems that have had him almost in and out of his own career, in and out of his with his fighters and being engaged with them. I remember on the Mayweather fight, didn't Oscar check himself into rehab?
Yep.
So, it seems like maybe he's, I don't want to say incompetent, but he is not at a point in his life where he can be steady and be stable.
It's not incompetence, it's the fact that he don't have any control of his life right now.
He doesn't have any control. That's the word I was looking for. So it might not be too bad for somebody else to take the reins or for his fighters to go elsewhere. Honestly, if I was a fighter and I saw my promoter was looking like that, I might bounce too, because it's not looking like Oscar, can hang in there for too long. He doesn't really have much longevity until he's doing this or doing that. And I wish him well, and I hope he gets better. But it has to suck, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, now that I got your opinions on basically the subject of the show, what we went over and discussed earlier, let's talk about really what's coming up and the main fight this week that's happening this weekend, which has a lot of boxing folks buzzing. And since the ladies been talking a lot here, I know boxing guy is probably feeling left out the loop here, so I'm gonna include him and go to him first.
You watch it, doo-doo.
No, that was Gail. Blame it on me.
Hey, listen, what y'all on here, I'm just going to say right now, I'm going to put a hand out for it right now. I do want an all-ladies episode. I'm just letting you ladies know. I do want an all-ladies episode in 2015.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't even know half the words they use, man. Shit. I'm like, damn, I think go get a dictionary or something?
No, we need energy. We need energy.
You need a thesaurus, D?
Yeah,
you need a thesaurus.
Shit.
But yeah, I'm just letting it know out there. I do want an all-female show in 2015. Just nothing but ladies, me and the ladies talking boxing. Or even let Kayla take over for the show, and you can invite whoever you want, and y'all can talk boxing. So
love it.
I'm just letting it know. I'm just putting it out there. But to you boxing guy, I'm gonna go to you first. Talk about the real fighter this weekend, as everybody's talking about, has everyone buzzing. That is Bermane Stiverne, making defending his heavyweight title, WBC version, against Deontay Wilder. A lot of talk, like I said. Both guys can punch. Both guys are a bit suspect here. There's an unknown quality, particularly in terms of Deontay Wilder. Keys to the fight, boxing guy.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think Wilder will go after him early. That's his only chance of winning. He's going to have to start throwing haymakers and hopefully try and take him out. But I think Stiverne will beat him, and I think he'll beat him quite comfortably. I think he's much cuter, much classier fighter. I think he'll lure him in, maybe a little bit of rope-a-dope, and then bang, I think he'll make him do a silly dance. So that's the way I'm looking at it. But yeah, really looking forward to this one.
I go to you on this one, D, because I know you basically want to talk about this fight all show long.
Bite my fingernails off.
Your thoughts on Stiverne and Wilder, because I know you got issues with Wilder. Let's just put it like that.
Oh yeah. You've been on it about over a year. Ever since he took that dive with Scott, he be fighting these cab drivers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, get out of here with that. It's like, Oh yeah, he's knocking out men, but I mean they just lay men, they just standing there, man. They ain't doing nothing. But my thing is, Bermane Stiverne is not going to be laid back like he fought Chris Arreola. He's going to attack. He has to. He's the shorter guy. He's a champion. He's going to have to. I mean, they say, you know, you got to take the belt from champ, whatever. He's going to have to go to, yeah, he's going to have to take it to Deontay Wilder. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to be extremely aggressive. And I truly believe he's going to catch him on that chin and put his big ass to sleep. I truly believe it. He's gonna catch him. I don't believe Wilder can. We ain't never seen him take a punch, but I've seen him a couple times where he looked really hurt, man. I'm looking back at his amateur, his sparring. Dude cannot take a punch. He can't take a punch at all. So we're gonna see. Yeah.
To Dee's point, he has been hurt. He has been hurt during the amateurs. I believe he's been stopped as an amateur. And during the sparring session with David Haye, there was a clip where they also
dropped him a couple times.
Right. They also showed him of being hurt, rumors of him being put on the deck by the Klitschko, Vlad Klitschko, to be specific. I'll go to you on this one, Kayla. A key to me may be the jab of Stiverne and his ability to go to the body. Wilder's the taller guy, but he's never been put in a position where he has really had to use his reach, so he doesn't really know how to use his reach fully, as far as I'm concerned. Your thoughts on this fight and the keys for either Stiverne or Wilder, Kayla?
I'm honestly rooting for anybody who could beat a Klitschko. So whoever can win this, I hope they can fight one of the Klitschkos and beat them. But I think
one of them gonna beat Klitschko. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's no one.
It's wishful thinking, right? Probably. I think I have Deontay Wilder for this. Yeah, and I say that because I was watching this fight in the Fight Vault, Mike, you know that, and they posted a video of Stiverne's old fight against Ray Austin.
Yeah.
And Ray Austin had this right hand that was hitting Stiverne all night. Now my only thing is Deontay Wilder has the same right hand, but it's a lot quicker. So I feel like Deontay is as big as he is, and with the reach he has, if he hits Stiverne with that all night, it's not gonna go all 12. I don't think the fight's gonna go all 12. But we'll see. It's a good step up for Deontay because, like you guys have said, he hasn't really fought anybody, and there are rumors of him being dropped and being knocked down. So we'll see. It's a good step up. So we'll see. I'm rooting for Deontay Wilder, but I won't mind.
Don't bet on it.
I'm
telling you, baby, don't put no money on this. I'm telling you, better go for Stiverne. I don't care who you going for.
You know, keys to the fight, Gil.
You know, both these guys, can punch. That's not a question. This is going to come down to two things. Number one, the ability to be hit and keep going, and number two, conditioning. We don't know what Wilder's conditioning is like. How he has been working extremely hard in this camp. He's been working out of the University of Alabama weight room, which is, a weight room beyond anybody's imagination. It's spectacular. Some of his training has been mighty impressive. But, can he go? What's he going to be like in the 6th round if it gets that far? That 8th round, that 10th round. We don't know. If Stiverne is smart, he will be careful early, and he usually is. He's a smart guy. He needs to go to the body. There's a lot of body to work with, and he, being the shorter fighter, is right in front of him. And I'm picturing myself as a fairly small person. Looking up at somebody. He should work to the body, not go for the early knockout. We all know you work on the trunk, the tree will fall. And in the later rounds, Wilder's a little gassed. He's taking a lot of liver shots. He's starting to hurt. And that's when Bermane could start aiming for the head and the knockout. Or maybe at that point he's worn out enough to have a liver shot, body punch knockout, which is absolutely my favorite type. If I see that, I'll be a happy camper. But, Wilder could throw one of those crazy Andy Lee knockouts too. That's what's going to make this fight so much fun to watch.
Okay, let's go across the board here. Official prediction.
Stiverne will move his head. Okay, he knows how to move bottom lead. We're gonna see a whole different Stiverne. You ain't gonna see the one back in the day. I'm telling you.
We'll see.
A whole different.
That's what's gonna make it fun.
Okay, official prediction, ladies and gents. Started with UD, then Gail, then Kayla, then Boxing Addict. Your prediction, what round, who will win?
I don't know. I'll say Stiverne. I don't know, 5, 6 round knockout. He's gonna knock this motherfucker out.
Gail?
I'm telling you.
Stiverne in 10. I think it might be a TKO, not a.
I don't think it'll go that far, but you know.
I think it will. I think it'll go a while.
Nah.
We'll see. I'm not betting money.
Bob's away, baby.
Kayla, your prediction.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna pick Wilder in
My boy over here.
in 8 or 9.
Yeah, join us right as we begin to close down the show. EJ Boxing Live. What's going on,
brother? Show his pictures. Oh, Bubba Lot.
welcome. How you doing?
What's up?
We're talking Stiverne Wilder, bro. Your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, that's gonna be a great fight, man. Like, Wilder, everyone's talking about his chin, this and that, but what people don't understand is that, like, it's the heavyweight division. One punch can finish anything, and Wilder's beat whoever's in front of him, regardless of a competition, and he done it in spectacular fashion. So, from Wilder, he can only do what's in front of him, and this is gonna be his day. Stiverne knows how to beat good two fighters. As you saw, I don't know if any of you saw, he beat Price, who's around the same height. In the amateurs, he knocked him out, so he knows how to get in there and land his left hook inside fighting. So it's really interesting if he can get in, because he takes his time, Stiverne. So it should be interesting. Like, I'm going for the draw, man. I don't know anyone see that. Everyone's like, oh, how can that be a draw? The reason why I say a draw, because they've got so much on the line. Like, Stiverne's fighting for his country, Haiti. He don't want to lose. Wilder's fighting for his little kid. And, like, you know, why can't we see a draw? A couple of knockdowns, a drag-out, slag-out fight, and we get everything we want in the heavyweight division, get everyone in the seat, see with a rematch. Like, what, a draw? A draw wouldn't be, for me, a draw would be fair, we get a chance to see it again. But, you know, it's unlikely, probably, so you probably favour Wilder for the knockout.
You reaching.
Nah, you are reaching.
It's going somebody get knocked out, man.
Nah, man. Stiverne.
Somebody get knocked out.
Nah, Stiverne's got good chin. Wilder's gonna be cool.
A draw? Shoot me now.
Where?
You'll be so you watch. You watch the fight.
We're gonna watch.
The fight start warming up round 6. The fight will start warming up round 6, round about that time. They're gonna be this like nervous energy. You know, they're taking this. While Stiverne's patient, Wilder's gonna be patient. He don't want to get hit.
Stiverne is coming hard, aggressive. You all wrong.
I do not think Wilder's going to be patient.
He's coming with a different style. He's coming aggressive, very aggressive, and he's going to get his ass out of there.
If the fight is a draw, that means both guys are going to be very conservative. Which means the fight is going to be boring, which means nobody wants to see it again.
No,
I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. Mike, I
think the fight is going to be as entertaining as this conversation.
Okay.
Look, this is going to happen. First round, Wilder going to be throwing that damn jab. He got a nice jab. Sweet jab. He got a sweet one, too. But, you know, Stiverne ain't stupid. He ain't finna walk into that shit. When he start getting wild, you know, because Wilder will get wild once he think you hurt. Once he think he got you hurt, he start throwing these wide-ass shots, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to get his ass out of there. He might hit it, he might hurt him, I don't know. But Stiverne going to hit that damn chin, and I promise you, on my mama, that nigga going to sleep.
He's gonna go. He might go down, but he ain't gonna stay down.
We need a fucking bet, then, goddammit. We need a bet. I got fucking PayPal, motherfucker. We gonna bet on this fight.
Before y'all make y'all little side bets, let's get Boxing Addict in here because he had to make his predictions. So Boxing Addict, your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with Earl more, actually. I think Stiverne is going to absolutely blast him out within 1 or 2 rounds. I think as soon as he starts unleashing, I think Wilder's banging trouble. I don't think he takes a shot very well. And I think if Stiverne manages to stay away from his big looping right hands, he's going to connect and it's going to over.
Boxer
Okay.
I didn't know what's up. Doodle be calling them damn fights.
Well,
That's
we're
right.
on the record now, so there's don't
Yeah,
turn
Okay,
it
I've been doing this
find
for a
out soon
while.
enough.
Hey, out of the whole year, I think I got. Man, I had a good record. My percentage, I only had a few fights that I didn't call. That's
Oh,
it. The rest of the year, I was
oh.
good.
On the record.
Few fights, I said few fights, EJ. I didn't
Oh,
know.
okay. The 2 fights were big though, right? It was-
Well, Hopper, Paulie Malignaggi. Who the fuck he fight? I said, Sean Porter. I thought Malignaggi was going to outbox him, and Porter blew him out of there. Hopkins and that one dude was Kubrat. How you say his name? Not Kubrat, but that one dude there, he looked Asian or something. I don't know. He just walked around, didn't know what the hell he was doing. And one more fight. No, that's it, man. I think it's only 2, man. Shit.
Oh, that was another fight, but I'm gonna let you cook right now. I'm gonna let you cook right now. I'm gonna let you cook. I could call you. I'm gonna let you cook.
Oh, yeah. The one you was talking about on fucking Facebook. What was that fight? Yeah. What was that fight, Mike?
I remember. You told me. I don't remember. You told me. I don't remember. I know you.
No, Mike called me out on the fight.
I know
on
you.
fucking
D
Facebook.
is coming from D. D disappeared. Like, you don't see D for a month or 2. So.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
because I be in my boxing, man. I'm training now, EJ. I'm in the gym, man. I'm not boxing training yet, but I'm getting my body right. You feel me?
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
knock some hole out. I'm knocking some hole out.
All right, that's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, nigga. I'm about to get validated. You feel me?
Oh,
I got hands, man.
Let me make my official prediction here. I think. I know it's cliche, but if it goes early, Wilder's gonna knock him out if it goes early. If it ends early,
Mike,
I just think that if he catches him early, Stiverne's going to sleep. He has a good chin, but it ain't
gonna
great.
be no Malik
But
crap. It ain't happening.
But for me, I think that Wilder's going to be cautious. He's going to be patient. I think the jab is going to be a key, and I think over time that he's going to be able to find Deontay Wilder's body. If he does that, the fight's going to be over, and he's going to be over at that point, and he will take him out anywhere in around 8 rounds. So I'm going to go with Stiverne by stoppage, mid rounds, between 6 and 8. But again, I reserve that because again, if Wilder catches him early, or if he catches him really at any point, really with a big shot, particularly early, because I think that he will take him out. So that's my official prediction. My official prediction is Stiverne stopping him at sometime midpoint of the fight. So there you go.
Great stuff, man. Great.
Go ahead, EJ.
I was gonna say, so Santa Cruz is fighting. Apparently, this is like from big sources that Rigo is actually gonna go into the ring and challenge Santa Cruz on.
See, I'm not gonna mention that fight because it's against a nobody. It's not even worth talking about. We all know that's a nobody. That's some last minute guy that they just put in the ring with.
Yeah, I know that.
Santa Cruz, wake me up when he finally decides to fight Rigo instead of talking about fighting Rigo.
Rigo's going to go into the ring. That's why I'm really talking about the opponent. But Rigo's actually going to go into the ring and he's going to challenge Santa Cruz there. Everyone knows this is going to happen, so he's going to challenge him in the ring, and they're going to try and make that happen. So that's what I heard. So just I don't know if you guys heard about that. So that's what
Before I begin to shut the show down, Kayla. EJ and I in particular has been talking, and Gail up to that point, been talking a lot about Hoya Inoue, the guy who recently went up to 115 and destroyed Omar Narvaez. Your thoughts on Inoue? How good do you think he is, and do you think he will eventually land that big fight with Roman Gonzalez that they're talking about possibly happening at the end of the year in Japan?
Listen, I gotta give credit where credit due. Hoya Inoue is good. He is very good. He's young and he's really good.
Because I know Gonzalez is your boy.
Gonzalez is my boy, and if he faces Inoue is going down. Period. So it don't even matter. But
all right, go ahead.
Inoue could beat him. Inoue could be.
And he's on
a 50-50 fight at this point for me.
He's on a great track because in Japan, especially, they don't they don't just move up in weight like that. Nonetheless, do they really ever fight for a title that's not the WBC or the WBA? But he made a pact, not a pact, or he promised that because he had such a decorated amateur career that he would only fight top opposition. And to go and challenge Narvaez in what is it, like his 8th fight and beat him and embarrass him, he's really good. Like his boxing, doesn't have a typical Japanese style. Like if you look at a lot of Japanese fighters, they don't fight like him. It almost makes me feel like he's not really from Japan.
He got an American style through and through.
Yeah, like he's extremely smart. He knows how to pick his shots. His body work is amazing. I really do like him. If he goes up against Roman Gonzalez, do I think he's going to beat him? No, I don't. But it'll be a good challenge, and I'm all for it. I'm on board with him. I totally respect him going and fighting guys, out of the typical comfort zone, because a lot of these Japanese fighters, aside from, Takayama or Nishioka, none of them ever really ventured outside of Japan, and if they did, it was, under a whole bunch of stipulations. They don't really do that. They kind of stay in the comfort of, Akihiko Honda, and they stay in Japan and they fight contenders. And getting a fight with them can be difficult because the Japanese Boxing Commission doesn't really recognize any other sanctioning body other than WBC or WBA. But now they're trying to get in tune with the WBO and the IBF. So it's really good. I like Inoue. I think he's really. I'm a fan of the Japanese boxing scene in general, but I like Inoue. He's young, and if he stays on the right track, we'll really see how good he is. I do think he is good, but we'll see. We'll see. I want to see who he faces next.
Personally, like I said, the Gonzalez bout is out there, especially if Estrada fights Valora in a rematch, which they're talking about. Their fights with Koki Kameda at 15, Tomoki Kameda at 118, bunch of fighters out there. And EJ, we big fans of him, and that Gonzalez fight, they're talking. I'm just letting you know they're talking about their fight between Inoue and Gonzalez in Japan, possibly during their Big Japan show at the end of the year. So they're already talking about it.
Well, hey man, if Gonzalez can hold in the belt for up until then, that'd be really good, because Gonzalez has got some live contenders going bidding for his belt. To be honest, he's probably one of the weaker champions in the division. But tell you, even though he's weaker champion, he's still the #1 champion in the division, beating out Murray. So that fight for Inoue, that'll be moving up into the weight class and going against them, man. Like Johnny Gonzalez hits extremely.
They're talking about him. Inoue fight Roman Gonzalez.
Oh, Roman. Yeah, that's a better fight for him. Yeah, sorry, that's a better fight for him. Sorry. Yeah, that's a better fight for him. I actually think he could probably win that fight, actually. Because you know what, a lot of times, Roman Gonzalez, he has things his own way, and when he actually faces adversity, I'm not too sure. They talk about the Estrada fight. It was backwards and forwards, but he don't hit as hard as Inoue, man. And Inoue starts hitting some punches. We haven't seen Roman Gonzalez handle that, but we haven't seen Inoue under that sort of pressure either. So
that doesn't hit as hard as Inoue? Are you joking?
Yeah, man, that guy is hard, man. Well, hey, pound for pound, that kid is one of the most hardest. In them flyweight division, pound for pound, that kid is one of the most hardest puncher. Look, you look what he did to Omar Narvaez, man. Omar Narvaez never been stretched out like that, man. Look, man, I was scared to death about that power. That power is frightening. That's what they call him, the monster. Like Godzilla, Godzuki. That monster, I'm saying, that monster is scary. I'm telling you. So I'm saying, like, that's what he's about. He's about putting it on you and trying to take you out. So I think I won't be surprised if he knocked Gonzalez out and shocked the whole world up. I won't be surprised, man. I'm telling you, he's frightening. I'm serious. He's really frightening power. I've never seen something where you jump out, you miss a whole weight class, and you go against an established champion, a long-reigning champion, right? And blow him out like that.
That's true.
You on that super juice? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it was frightening. It was frightening, and pound for pound, Michael's been talking about it for a while. I'm telling you, Gonzalez, like that is a live opponent, not no old opponent. If you look at some Gonzalez's opponents, some of them are old. I know they're long-running champion, but they're old. But this is a live wire opponent, seriously, with some heavy punching power, fast hands. So it'd be a really good fight.
And absolutely.
I mean, we could break it down if we talk about why each of them are different and who succeeds where. But I don't really think. I think Inouye's good, and I think he's a hard hitter. But do I think he's just gonna go and knock out Gonzalez? Absolutely not.
He will be the hardest hitter Gonzalez ever faced. That's a look without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, maybe.
You can say it because of the world champions he's knocked out. So the way he's impressively knocked out them world champions, you put him there. But it'll be interesting. Gonzalez is very good technically. He hits hard himself, but under that sort of pressure and them circumstances, he's proved himself up at a higher weight class than Gonzalez himself. And then where's the fight gonna be? Is it gonna be a super fly? Is it gonna be a fly? So it depends on where the weight class as well.
Well, Gonzalez has said in an interview over the Christmas break that should Estrada instead fight Valoria instead of fighting a rematch with him, that he wants to move up to 115 in 2015 because he wants the fourth world title in the fourth division.
It's too far for him, man. It's too far for him. He looks chubby where he is now, man. He's chubby.
Yeah, Roman has to be careful. I don't know if he would carry 115 too well. The man's only like 5'1", 5'2".
Exactly. So who you favoring in that fight at that weight class?
I would. And that high, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I think on that note, we're going to shut the show down. When I stop.
Hold up, Mike. Hold up. Whatever fight EJ picks, you go the opposite. If he picks somebody, you take the opposite. Nine times wrong.
Hey, that's why I come on and say a draw, man. Like, why can't everyone's way over? But to be honest with you, ain't no one proved anything. Like, ain't no one really proved anything. Whoever wins this fight should go on to fight the Klitschko, in my opinion. But
and then they're gonna lose.
Yeah, I know whoever wins. Yeah, like they've got a lot of questions to answer. But whoever wins, fair play. Hope everyone gets behind them and they get the Klitschko fight. But like a draw, to me, a draw would be fair, man. A draw would be fair because I don't think any of them guys want to lose, man. So that's what I said. I ain't going to look. You can't burn me up on that as well. So.
Yeah, I think we're going to close the show down. When I stop the broadcast, side note, Kayla and Gail and Dee stay on when I shut the show down. We're going to end the show on that note talking about Inouye and Gonzalez and whatnot. I will go around and then let the folks know if they want to talk boxing and whatnot, where to find you. Doodoo Brown, D, a.k.a. Doodoo Brown. Folks want to talk boxing or anything else, let them know where they can find you.
Barbie Boxing Forum on Facebook, man. I'm on that 24/7 my page. I'm on YouTube, Doodoo Brown. I'm on Google Plus, Doodoo Brown. I'm on Twitter, Doodoo Brown. You see where I'm going with this? I'm on everything.
EJ Boxing Live. If folks want to talk to Sweet Science or anything else, let them know where they can find you.
EJ Boxing Live, YouTube channel, EJ Boxing Live on Twitter. So that's where you can catch me, fight fans.
Gail Falkenthal, if they want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
First of all, you can read my column, which is in Communities Digital News, a national online news organization in the United States, and that's comdiginews.com, COMMDIGI News, and Twitter is the place to chat me up. And during a fight, I'm always there. It's PR Pro San Diego, PR Pro San Diego on Twitter. So that's where you need to hit me up. And if you got any good gossip, let me know. Now, what was that again for Doodoo? I didn't quite get those addresses.
I said, go ahead on, girl. Give me a job, shit.
Doodoo Brown, I got it. That's branding.
That's right.
Good for
and Mr. Boxing Addict and Sean, they both had to leave. I'll give you the information if you want to check out Sean Newton, the Boxing Troll. Just look up Sean Newton, SHAWN Newton, NEWTON. He's all over on YouTube. You'll find him on anybody who's doing a boxing show or broadcast or anything. He's always somewhere leaving a comment and whatnot. Yeah. So check him out. And Mr. Boxing Addict, you can just find him, Mr. MR Boxing Addict, BOXIND ADDICT, all in one word. So he's on YouTube. So just look him up there. Early gets the Pound for Pound Boxing Report going to the Spreecast days. This KBC Live, Kayla Lewis, let the folks know where they can find if they want to talk boxing or anything else.
You can hit me on Facebook, Kayla Lewis, YouTube.com/KBC Live, Twitter, Kayla M. Lewis, either one or all three. You can talk to me there.
And you can also check out some of her articles on the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, as she's also contributes for that, the blog page, I should say. For me, if you want to find me, y'all know what it is. I changed my Twitter thing, BrotherJR76. It makes sense since I'm known as Brother JR just about everywhere else on social media. So Brother JR76 on Twitter. Just look me up there. Pound for Pound Boxing page again. Again, information on that, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. I'll just stick with that. On there, you can find all the links to where to find the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. That's POUND, the number 4, POUND Boxing Report. All links to where to find this Pound for Pound Boxing Report on social media, you can find it there. Facebook, YouTube, G+, Twitter, Tumblr, Podomatic, Pinterest. We got a Pinterest board as well as the RSS feed, as well as the link to where you can donate your account. On the next episode of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, we will do a full breakdown of the fight between Bermane Stiverne and Deontay Wilder. Plus, we will also talk about the upcoming trilogy between Mike Alvarado. Hopefully, it still happens between Mike Alvarado and Brandon Rios. That's going to be happening on the 24th. We're going to be talking about those fights as well as anything else that may be happening, any other news and boxing news that may be happening in the interim. So, for the one and only Doodoo Brown, for EJ Boxing Live, for Sean Newton, for Gail Falkenthal, KBC Live, Kayla Lewis, I am your host, Michael. This has been another episode of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. You guys have a good evening. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Peace.